Hey dolls, welcome back to my channel. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you share my page with everybody that you know. And in today's girl talk, I will basically be talking about how high standards protect you from low quality experiences and realize how valuable you are. Because it's this saying that goes around that says high standards protect you from low quality experiences. It is real because when you have, like situations in life that we have been through where we were either treated a way that we shouldn't have been treated, or something was done to us that shouldn't have been done, so on and so forth, or either we allowed something that we had no business allowing to go on in the first place. That's what I mean. And we look back on these situations, I feel like the reason why we have been through so much and dealt with so much is because we didn't have high standards. We didn't have no standards, because coming from a person who used to not have no standards, I went through a lot when it came to people and when it came to situations, because I didn't exactly have standards and how to react, how to not react, so on and so forth. So when you come to realize that the reason you had to go through those things was to learn a lesson so you could set standards and set them high, you will become so much happier. That's literally when you crack the code on how to stop going through the stuff that you go through. Because once you finally decide, you know what, let me set some standards. I'm not going to set the typical basic ordinary standards like, oh, a person just has to care and has to love. No, I'm going to set high standards, such as I'm receiving such type of treatment. This happens every Tuesday, or this person does this. Or it don't even just apply to people. It apply to like jobs, school, so on and so forth. And you can even have self standards. Like, say one of your self standards is not to badmouth yourself in any way, in any shape or form. That's one of your self standards. So take you some time to really set some standards for every single last thing in your life, because once you get you a pen and paper and you set some standards for the things that you want out of life, or the things that you want out of a person, or the things that you want out of yourself, or out of your business that you're trying to do, whatever it may be that you're trying to do, you will begin to manifest what it is that you wrote down on the paper. Reason why is because when you write stuff down on the paper, it's like it goes such a far way. Like, y'all don't recognize the power behind just getting a pen and some paper and writing down every single last thing that you want. And when you write it down, don't write down I want. Either when you write down the standards, just write them down. What you want the person to do, what you want the job to be like, the standard you have for yourself, such as, like, say if you're doing self standards is the title. Say if you write down under that one of the little bullet points. Say if you write down, never badmouth myself in any way, shape, or form. That's literally what you're going to write. Do not write, oh, I want, or I'm going to be, or I'm going to have. Don't write it like that. You have to more so write it like it's in the present tense. That's how you manifest better, and that's how it'll work better, because you're not just putting out the message that, oh, I want. You're basically telling your brain that you don't have it. So in that case, write down, I have, or I will not, or I am, because whatever it is that you want, starting now, when you set those standards and you decide, you know what, I'm not settling for nothing less than this, you become what you're setting a standard for. So, say if you set a standard for your career and you want your career to make $5,000 a week, you write down, my career is making $5,000 a week. You write it down like that, and you have to believe it. If you write down a self standard, like such as, do not badmouth myself in any way, shape, or form, you then have to behave as such. Do not badmouth yourself in any way, shape, or form. So you basically become what you write. So once you write these things down, this is also a way of moving into your highest version of yourself and your highest version of your life. Once you write these things down, you have to decide, you know what, this is my new life, this is my new reality, and I will not accept or settle for nothing less, and you have to own that. Now, I feel like the reason why we have been through so much, because we didn't have standards back there. We had low standards, or we didn't have enough self-love. Because when, like, say of something that's common, like relationships or friendships, the reason we let that person run all over us so much, because we did not have strong standards or boundaries enforced. Because if we did, we would have loved ourselves. Even though we might have loved that person, we would have loved ourselves more than we loved them to be able to walk away. You should never love somebody else more than you love yourself. So if we had standards and enough self-love back then when we were going through those things, that would never happen. So that's why I say it's important to want to always learn about self-improvement, because you can always better yourself and you can save yourself from low quality experiences. So really take you some time to go over every last thing that you want out of life. When it comes to a job, if you want to work a job, write down job at the top. Just act like you already have it. Act like you're just writing down the details of it, how it already is. Write down job as the title. And write down every single last quality that you want that job to have. Do not say, I want it to have, or it will have. Write down, it has, or it is. Write it in present tense. Say if you want the job to help you to make $1,000 a week. Write down on one of the bullet points under the title, that's titled job. Write down the bullet points. I make $1,000 every single week off of my job. Write it down. Act like it's in the present tense. And that's the way to manifest. When you want to manifest, you have to show up as what you're setting standards and boundaries for. So if your standards are this high, you cannot be this low. You have to become this high as well. You really got to raise yourself up. You really got to build yourself up, boost yourself up to be able to reach those standards and to be able to maintain and manage them standards. Do not lower your standards for anybody. Do not let anybody just half-ass you or walk. Excuse me. Woo, Lord. Do not let just anybody have access to you, or do not let anybody make you feel like your standards are too high. Do not let anybody make you feel bad for having standards, because let's be real. A lot of people live the way that they do now because they never set standards for their self. They never set standards for their life. So in that case, you are one of the chosen ones. You are one of the very lucky ones to be able to learn about standards and self-improvement, so on and so forth. So you can take it and apply it to your life so you don't be like everybody else. Do not aim to be like everybody else. Do not aim to be normal. Definitely don't aim to be basic. Whatever you want to do in this lifetime, you can do. Whatever you want to do, you can do. I'm telling you now. If nobody has done a thing that you're trying to do, that does not mean you cannot do it. You were put to that assignment for a reason. It's like with school. When a teacher assigns you something, or when a teacher calls on you, or they do something specifically for you, it is for you. So this is the same thing with life. God assigned you an assignment. Do it. Don't sit here and doubt yourself. Don't sit here and think that you're not going to make it, or that you're not built for it. If you were not built for it, you would have never been handed that vision or that goal or that dream. So by all means, set your standards high. Do not let nobody make you feel bad for having high standards. Never lower your standards for anybody. And really take the time out to put down every single last thing that you want out of life, out of yourself. Put down all your standards, all your boundaries. What do you want people doing? What do you not want people doing? What do you respect? What is not respect? What do you call being respected? What is disrespect in your eyes? Whatever it may come to. Like, really write it down. Anything that's below your standards is not enough. Do not settle for it. Everything handed to you is not meant for you to take. Everything offered to you is not meant for you to take. It's only to test you to see, okay, is she or he gonna stand on business about their standards, or are they just gonna take this because it's being handed to them? Do not just take anything that's being handed to you. Even if you meet a person that, say if you wrote down 30 standards for a relationship and you meet a person that matches 20 standards, that's not enough, because that's lacking a whole 10 standards. So in that case, you're basically lowering your standards for somebody that you didn't ask for. So in that case, do not settle for less. Do not take just anything or anyone that's handed to you. Most of these things is going to come at you after you set these standards. Is a test to see if you're going to give in to something that you know is less than, or if you're just going to stand on business when it comes to you. And by all means, stand on business. Do not settle for just anything. Don't lower your standards for anybody. And dream big, set big standards. But that is all for my girl talk. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. And I love y'all. keep your head up, set your standards high, and stand on it, period. And I will see y'all in my next video.